Hello, everyone. Today, I want to talk to you guys about the placement of your optic on the AR-15. Okay, so how far forward or back or centered do you want it? I'm going back some, I don't know, 10 to 15 years ago. Back then, right, and optics on ARs was relatively new. People tended to put them as far, like, all the way back, right? And I think that a lot of people were either thinking of the optic as a replacement of the rear sight, or it was like kind of a carryover from people using like ACOGs that had like a 3x or 3.5 magnification, and there was eye relief issues. Okay, so it needed to be close to your eyes, and it still is with the magnifier. Like the magnifier pretty much needs to be, I think this one needs to be about an inch and a half or so from the eye. So generally speaking, the magnifier goes on the gun first, and then we see where we have space left over to put optics, and if we're going to put backup sights, or if we even have space for backup sights. So anyway, like I said, initially when I first got into ARs or optics on ARs, specifically red dots, people were putting them all the way back because, again, you had that carryover from the ACOGs. Then very quickly, people started centering over the ejection port, right? So, and for a long time, that's what I did. I basically took the optic and I centered it over the ejection port. And that worked okay. I had space to put a magnifier behind it, but I couldn't put both the magnifier and a rear flip-up sight, okay? So lately, I just, as a matter of being practical, I basically take the red dot and I push it all the way forward on the upper receiver, and that gives me space for the magnifier and the flip up sights, and everything works pretty good. Okay, so that's probably a good place to be. Now on some optics, like this EOTech style, okay, I can put a magnifier behind it. And by the way, when you remove the magnifier, like, this may seem like a little weird, like it's all the way up, but it works just fine. And an argument can be made that it actually works better because as this thing moves forward, with both eyes open, the ring of the scope kind of disappears. So that works just fine for me. Okay, so it's just a matter of getting used to having this empty area here, but this empty area is really good for putting your magnifier. So this is one of the most common optics that I use for training, especially beginners. This Holosun 510C. The big window optic works great for training people. They're able to get on that red dot, find it really quickly. So the same deal with this. I used to kind of center it over the ejection port, but I find that pushing it all the way up works just fine, and it leaves lots of comfortable space to put the magnifier and get that proper eye relief. On, off. Okay, so yeah, so again, pushing this all the way up on the upper receiver works really great for me. And when I take this off, just because this thing tends to be so big, I mean, that doesn't even look awkward to me, right? Because it's like where I used to center this over the ejection port, it's just very slightly shifted forward. And this seems really good. This is a great setup. This is a great optic. It's the most, like most of the people that I train, this is what I use. So that's the Holosun 510C. This is the, what is this? The Holosun 503CU, right? I like this because it's really light, especially on these palmettos with the hybrid rails, right, where they don't have Picatinny in the middle here. This is a really light gun. Okay, this makes it nice and light. Okay, so this is a great setup. Okay, and I got these mag pole sights over here. You know, so again, small, low profile backup sights. For a lot of my guns, like this one over here, like I don't even put backup sights, you know, especially on guns that I train people, unless I specifically want to train them you know, to work with the backup sights. Usually, I keep backup sights on like on this gun over here. This is a gun where a lot of times I swap out the different optics to test them out. So I'll put different red dots on here. So what I'll do is I'll co-witness to the iron sights. So if I change the optic, I'll flip up the iron sights, right? And I'll use these as an anchoring point, and now I'll adjust the scope so that I have almost a near perfect zero. And then I'll take a couple of shots, and I'm usually right on. So that's realistically how I actually use the backup sights, and I generally keep them on rifles. Well, I keep them on my main go-to rifle, but as far as other rifles that I have, because I got lots of them, I will generally keep them on guns where I change the red dots on a somewhat frequent basis. On guns like this, where this stays on here, this optic never comes off. This is what I used to train people on. I mean, I generally don't even put backup sights on here. Again, unless I want to, you know, like I'll put them on if I want to train somebody on the backup sights. So I'll just throw them on there, do a quick, you know, like I'll adjust the backup sights to the red dot, and you know, I don't even have to take any shots. I mean, if you're trying to adjust the backup sights to your red dot, I mean, it's just going to be super accurate. You know, they'll be as accurate as you can be with iron sights. If you're going the other way, if you're trying to adjust your red dot to your iron sights, yeah, you actually got to take a few shots to fine tune it, because the red dot generally does allow us to be a little bit more accurate as a matter of practicality. Okay, and I'm going to show you like this one over here, right? So I've got this weird Romeo that I kind of inherited. I think somebody gave me this one, and it's got like these weird protective lenses here that I almost never use and hardly ever stay up. But the point is that you got these things here, right? That they're supposed to be like see-through. I never use them. They just kind of just hang there. But I mean, even with these hanging down, with this red dot pushed all the way up, I still got room to put the magnifier back here, right? And it works just fine for me. Okay. So again, this is the result of pushing this all the way up. Oh, actually, it's not even all the way up, but it's fairly up, all the way up on the upper receiver. And last thing I want to show you guys, AK-47, right? So with the AK-47, this is the best place to mount your red dot. Now this does, I have in the past used the side mount with the red dot on top. Two issues with that. Number one, it sits so high that you have to kind of put your jaw on the gun, and the AK with the 7.62x3.9 has a little bit more recoil. So with your jaw on the gun, you feel like you're getting punched in the jaw as the gun recoils. So I never liked that. At one point, I put like a riser on the stock. Just now you're adding more shit onto the gun. So the best solution was to remove basically remove the side mount and put the red dot in the front. The other issue I had with the side mount is it just doesn't hold zero very well, because with the side mounts, and I actually had a guy here with the RS Regulate side mounts, which are like $100 side mounts. They're supposed to be the best. They don't hold zero. I mean, like, if you push down on it, you'll see that it moves a little bit, and you still have the issue of it being high, and you got to put your jaw on the gun. So this solution works. This is the Midwest rail. Basically, the bottom rail clamps onto the barrel, and then the top rail clamps on to the bottom rail, and the red dot goes on top of that. And this I have found to be the best. I've gotten the best accuracy with the setup. I've actually got, like, I think it was 3 3/4 inches at 200 yards, right? So inside of 2 MOA with this red dot setup. Now, because you've got lots of pieces connected to each other, if you shoot like 1,000 rounds, yeah, things do start coming loose, you know, and you do over 1,000 rounds, you know, plus 1,000 rounds plus, you can, not you will, but you can lose your zero. It still holds zero better than having the side mount on the AK-47. Okay, so but with the red dot all the way up here, you know, no problem with it being all the way up there. The reason why we don't do it on an AR, right, is because the upper receiver is a lot more stable. It's the best place to put it. We could put it on the rail, but why would we? The rail is not going to be as stable as the upper receiver. Ideally, on the AK-47, the best place to put the red dot would actually be over the front trunnion. If this was a milled Picatinny rail instead of this rear backup sight, this would be the ideal place to put this red dot, right? So yeah, I mean, this shouldn't be here anymore. This should be a milled Picatinny rail. However, this is a Romanian AK that goes back probably a few decades at this point. So we're not gonna get that. So this is the best place to put the red dot on your AK-47, and it works pretty good. I mean, especially with the light, you know, these relatively small red dots. There's the Holosun 503CU. I mean, it doesn't add that much weight in the front. Probably more of the weight comes from having the rail. That adds a little bit of weight. But this is a good setup. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that as an example. I wanted to show you how I've had this on here for at least, I don't know, 7-8 years at this point, and this works really good. Okay, so there's no issue at all as far as accuracy, training, you know, getting up on target, you know, with having your red dot pushed all the way forward on your upper receiver. Don't go into the rail. Don't go into this section here at all, because that's gonna throw it off. You don't even try to straddle it, because sometimes I have tried straddling it, and it does shift to zero. Like it does shift. Like I tried it even sometimes, because what I try to do on one setup is I experimented with loosening up the screws over here. You know, basically having the rail loose, straddling the red dot, and then tightening things up. And for some weird reason, it seemed to the zero seems to have shifted. You know, after I tightened the screws up, when I shifted it back completely onto the upper receiver, you know, I mean, yeah, there's always going to be a little bit like a small shift in your zero, but it wasn't big. So anytime you take the red dot off and put it back on, even if you put it on the same spot, it's going to shift a tiny little bit, right? Maybe a half MOA. It's got to shift. But anyway, yeah, that's my suggestion. That's what works for me. Red dot all the way forward on your upper receiver, and this way you leave as much real estate back here to put a magnifier, which is extremely useful, right? Magnifier is extremely practical with your red dot. The rear, the backup sights, I mean, that's something that it's like, if I got space for it, I'll put it on. If I don't have space for it, like this optic, like I'm, you know, I'll take them off, and I really won't lose any sleep over not having backup sights on the gun. I'm like, these Holosuns are just so reliable. You know, they're solar powered. They got a battery backup. They're just so reliable that I've never had a problem with them failing, or usually with the battery going bad. I mean, sometimes I'll see the blinky, right, where it gives me a warning that the battery's going bad. But like almost never do I think maybe once or twice I went to it and it was completely dead. And I think the reason why it was completely dead is because it was in constant motion. Like, let's say if it's like, let's say hidden in my truck or something, and the truck is always moving, right? So now the optic never gets a chance to fully go to sleep. And then it'll actually run out the battery, and then it'll do the blinky. You won't notice it, and then it'll actually go dead. So that's the only situation where I've actually like ever gone to an AR with a Holosun on it and just like found a dead, like I found it completely dead. But if you got sunlight, it'll still work. Okay. So anyway, drop some comments. I just wanted to share those thoughts with you guys as far as red dots and red dot placement. Over the years, I've seen it shift. We initially was all the way back, then it was kind of centered, and now my thoughts are like all the way forward on the upper receiver without going onto the handrail. Okay, so drop some comments. I'll talk to you all soon.